Hello and welcome to everyone. Today, our guest is Thomas Peterson, LFA fighter. Thank you, Thomas, for accepting the interview. What can you say in general about yourself? In like 3 or 4 sentences in general about yourself, can you say something? So we are going to go with question by question. Thank you.
Okay, I don't know. I'm a married man and I'm a mechanic and I like to fight. I guess I don't know what. I just enjoy fighting and I just want to see how far it goes.
Yeah, that sounds pretty much awesome. When did you start training MMA, and which was your first martial art?
Wrestling. I started training MMA probably in 2017. But wrestling has all I've been wrestling since I was 3 years old.
Yeah, what can you say in general about your fighting style? Like in your own words, what is your fighting style? What are your main goals during the fight?
My fighting style is I want to be considered a martial artist. I guess I like to learn everything. I gotta. I feel like I'm very well rounded on the ground. I feel like I can get anybody to the ground, and I feel like uh, I outdog people. I feel like you put me in a cage with another guy, I'm gonna be still going at the end of the day. Even he's gonna have to put me to sleep to beat me. That's how I feel. And my goals are just to see how when that day is. I want to see how good I can be. Is my goals.
Do you have favorite strike and favorite submission?
My favorite strike is probably my left cross. I'm a southpaw, so it's my cross. And then my favorite submission is a Kimura, I would say.
You come from wrestling, so is there any like favorite throw or favorite slam? I know wrestling is pretty much known for that.
Well, my favorite shot. I like bear hugs and I like belly to bellies, but belly to belly is a high risk move, for the fives and stuff. So I tried my favorite move in wrestling was a high crotch, but that gets you in trouble in jiu-jitsu and stuff because your head's on the outside. And so my second favorite shot was a single though, and that's a lot safer in mixed martial arts because your head's buried on their hip on the inside, so you get away with a lot more stuff. So that's my favorite technique in wrestling.
Who are your coaches and sparring partners?
Uh, I got Delico James is my my striking coach, and Rio Jiu Jitsu. All of them guys over there. I'm gonna butcher their names. Joel. I'm gonna butcher their names, so I'm not gonna try. But they're great guys over there, and Jose, and I can't even say his last name, but so I get good work in jiu-jitsu at Real Jiu-Jitsu here in Apple Valley, Minnesota, and then my striking partners my sparring partners are just kind of some guys that go to the gym, whoever's there. A couple of them are in Glory Pride fighting for my Muay Thai stuff, but that's pretty much it.
What can you say about your first amateur fight?
My first amateur fight, it was a learning experience because I came from the wrestling realm, and it was just odd to be up. You're in a cage. It's kind of not saying wrestling is more of a. I'm going to say it's more of an orthodox sport, kind of like a pure sport, like boxing is. And then all of a sudden you go from where you got a handful of guys, you're sharing a mat with a bunch of people, you're wrestling, and you're compared to just being the one guy out there in a cage where everyone's drinking around you. That's just a different thing. It's a lot cooler. The fans are a lot more excited when you're fighting than you are when you're wrestling. But that's the biggest experience for me was when my first amateur fight. That was pretty nuts, getting into a cage and just having a bunch of fans out hammered.
Who was your toughest amateur opponent and why?
Probably either Kiefer Bender or Jimmy Barnes. They just could take punches, man. Like my amateur fights, I wanted to make sure I had a chin, so I would keep them on the feet, and I would keep them on the feet unless I had to take them down, or if the opportunity was there and I couldn't help it, I would go into a takedown. But I had some brawls just to see if I could take a punch, and probably them two guys are tied, Jimmy Barnes and Kiefer Bender.
What can you say about your first professional fight, and what were the greatest differences between fighting amateur and fighting pro?
Well, my first pro fight was against, I didn't want to give the guy a name, but he backed out like 2 days before my fight. And so he backed out 2 days before I tried to sell as many tickets as I could. So I had family, friends coming from all over the place to come watch it. And they actually had to find a late replacement, BJ Lacey, who I think he had 30 fights, maybe even 40 fights. And he was a little below 500, but still, that's 40 fights as your first pro fight. Last second, you don't know who this guy is. And so it made it a little bit more nerve-wracking, not knowing who I was fighting. And so that was kind of the biggest thing. But either way, I get in there and I try to be calm and collective. I try to fight everybody the same way, like they're world champs. So it wasn't that big of a difference, but there's just a lot more anxiety before the fight. Like, am I going to find a fight or not? And then the biggest difference, there wasn't a big difference between amateur and pro. It felt the same. The build-up was just different because of the late opponent and all that stupid stuff that nobody can make a difference for making that happen or not.
How did you defeat Brian Peterson in your next fight?
Brian Peterson, I took him down early, and he went right in the side mount, and I landed some elbows, and he turned, and then I got my boots in when he went belly up, belly down, and I got my boots in, and then I just got to the dominant position and then I started throwing hooks.
How hard it is to control the opponent in the side mount from 0 to 10?
It can be 7 or 8, because you have that opponent can dig underhooks, and you're at a T where it's hard. Controlling another human being the same size as you is hard no matter what you do. So you really have to know what you're doing and know the feel of when a guy's trying to explode, when a guy's trying to get out. And, you got to prepare for that. You got to hold tight when that happens, and then he's got to rest. A guy can only sprint for so long before he has to take a breath. And then that's when you re-cinch, almost like an anaconda. That's the whole ground game of this world, So when that guy takes a breath, either you decide to throw strikes or you decide to improve position. And so side mount is one of my favorite positions at heavyweight, but it's not easy by any means to still control another man that weighs the same as you.
Your fastest win happened against Kimo Lewis, right?
Yes.
So how did you finish him so quickly? I watched the fight, but you started celebrating before, I think, before he touched the mat, or...
I'm a pretty humble guy out there, man. I don't like this game's a roller coaster. Sometimes you're at the top and sometimes you're at the bottom, It just depends on the day, One punch can change the whole fight. And I came in, we were kind of touching paws. I was finding my distance. I was waiting him for the kick because he kept loading up a kick, and then I was playing on counter, but he was waiting as well. I think he was trying to counter me as well, and I just threw the first punch out there. And sometimes in this game, the first punch can put you out when your chin's cold. I think I hit pretty hard, but when you're a first punch of a fight knockout, usually a guy didn't see it coming or his chin's cold, so it just worked out for me. And then I I seen the guy collapse, so I just instead of giving him another one when he was done, I just decided to step away, and the ref stopped it at the same time. So it was good. I don't like to celebrate that much just because I hate. It's part of the game. When we both step in that cage, one of us is going to lose, and that's just the facts. And so I hate that a guy who's got the balls to jump in that cage. I'd hate that kick him when he's down just with celebrating like a banshee. So my days, everybody's due in this game to lose. At the end of the day. So I try to walk a humble line, and don't get me wrong, I'm not going in there to lose, but I always try to stay humble.
What was your game plan for your last fight?
I try to go in there with no game plan. I try to go in there and just be relaxed and see opportunities as they come. If they he bull rushed me, and so the takedown was there. The takedown, it came very easy because he ran into me, and then so I could transition into a bear hug to a trip, and so that was my game plan. And then this guy was a powerhouse. This was my best pro opponent, and we didn't see it coming. We did see it coming, but I was impressed with his ground game. I knew he could throw hands and strikes, but I didn't know he had that good of a guard. But like I said, I take every fight the same. I take him as a world champs. In my mind, every fight I go against is a world champ. So I was ready for it, but it was surprising that he was pretty good off his back, which impressed me. And then I just happened that he took a breath. He got a little tired because he was trying to finish that fight more than anything, right in the first minute. And then he got tired off his back. I was able to pass pretty easily once he got tired, and I moved the side mount and I put it away. I hats off to him for not tapping on that. I think I got Americana on that on him, and I had that thing cranked and he didn't tap, and I couldn't believe it. I honestly couldn't believe it. And then I just happened to find some strikes to land, and he went belly down, and I got my boots in, and that is one of the most scariest dominant positions in fighting is when somebody's on their stomach, and then the opponent's got their boots and hammering away. It just sucks. It just sucks to be there. And so I got him in a bad position, and I put him away, and so it worked out. Like I said, I don't really game plan.
Do you have the favorite animal?
No, I guess I like bucks, man. I like deer. I hunt bucks up here in Minnesota, and they impress the hell out of me for how tough and how strong them animals are. But if I was going for a dominant animal, probably a tiger. Probably a tiger is my favorite animal, but for just the pound for pound animal.
What are your plans in MMA for the future?
Just ride it out. I want to see how good I can be. So I'm gonna be prepared for every fight, and we're just gonna see where it goes.
Outstanding. Would you like to add something to the interview? Is there something we missed to say? Would you like to give a shout out to somebody maybe?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my sponsors, Home Hobler Brothers, and then I'd like to thank Minnesota Soda Construction and the Crest Exteriors, Rygun, Pack Raffalo, and Crested Rygun. I know I'm forgetting one, and but yeah, and then everybody who supported me through this whole fighting, I really appreciate it, and that's about it.
All right, thank you for the interview. Tomorrow morning I will upload it, okay?
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Have a great day, Thomas.
You too. Bye.